once again, Indie Warriors. Welcome back to I Dream of Indie Games. My name is Gamer Joe, and today we're taking a special look, a deep dive, if you will, into DEVIATOR. DEVIATOR is an upcoming Metroidvania game that comes from Gammy Studios and will be published by Sapstar Games. A very special thank you to Sapstar Games for sponsoring this video and helping to support independent content here at the channel, as well as allowing us to showcase their game. Really cool. Now, if you end up enjoying what you see today in this demo, it is a part of Steam Next Fest, and you can use the link in our description box below to download it and try it for yourself. And I challenge you to do so, but we'll get into that in just a moment. At the time of this recording, you have about 6 days left or so on Steam Next Fest, so take advantage of that. There's lots of great indie demos, including this one. Alright, so the creators of DEVIATOR are not shying away from the fact that this release is heavily inspired by 2017's Hollow Knight. That's probably pretty obvious if you take one look at this game. And hey, that's really not a bad game to take inspiration from, given its insane popularity. Players love the oddly cute, dark artistic direction of that game, controlling the knight, and utilizing his many combat skills, while exploring the fascinating world Hollow Nest. So naturally, with that game being such a success, many have tried to chase that magic, and with its insane popularity, you can only imagine that there was going to be a sequel at some point, or was there? It hasn't come out yet, which gives the folks here that are creating DEVIATOR a pretty good opportunity to fill that void. But for as obvious as that comparison is, DEVIATOR is also its own thing in a lot of ways. One thing that's worth noting is that this is Gammy Studios' first game ever, so congratulations to them. Definitely a talented group, and hey, it takes guts to put a demo out there into the world and be judged. So congrats. All the best to you going forward with this release, and hopefully many releases following DEVIATOR. Alright then, on to DEVIATOR. What's this one all about? Well, the first thing that really popped out to me was the visual style of this game. It is really a lovely looking title, capable of being enjoyed at the 4K resolution, and with high frame rates too, so that's a nice sign. Optimization seems to be well on its way. The hand-drawn look is pretty impressive, with nice animations and backgrounds that feel pretty alive. Not much of the story is going to be revealed in this hour or so long demo. That might take longer, but again, more on that later. Players can expect to feel pretty good about how the game will play though by the time they're done. Now I'm gonna warn you right now, if you aren't a fan of parrying in video games, then DEVIATOR is not going to be for you. There is a heavy, and I mean heavy, emphasis placed on deflecting enemy attacks, which allows for your lead character to build up momentum. The more momentum you manage to build up, the more powerful you'll become, and the more abilities will also be at your disposal. DEVIATOR demands very, very precise inputs, and that can certainly be frustrating at times. But for those of you that love timing-based combat engines, you'll probably find a good deal to like here. With that said, I do think DEVIATOR can sometimes be a little bit too demanding. Even when I could have sworn that I parried at the right moment against certain enemies and bosses, they still managed to hit me, doing some what kind of felt like cheap damage. It would seem like overall, further tweaks to the timing inputs are going to be needed. The game can be adjusted to and learned, but certainly on more than one occasion, mainly the final boss of this demo, it leaned towards feeling a bit on the cheap side at times. I would also say the tutorials are not always perfectly explained. Despite this, there really aren't all that many buttons to be concerned with, so it isn't a huge deal. Attacks are performed with the right bumper, and you parry with the left bumper. You also have a special attack and the ability to heal. The game also claims to have a map, however I was unable to access one for whatever reason, despite pressing the corresponding input. My guess is that it's just not implemented into this demo. Hopefully the final build of the game will include a map for us to use. The actual world of DEVIATOR does feature a decent amount of save points which restore your health, and you can also gather dropped items if you return to where you died. You have a tombstone or something like that to shatter back open, and you'll get all of your items back, much like many games today. The core gameplay loop is much like any other Metroidvania at the end of the day. Roam around the map, find hidden items, progress your way forward, take down bosses. That seems to be where Deviator is heading. Players will also find collectible runes, and these can be equipped at save points, which come with added perks. And just as you would expect with this being a Metroidvania style game, there's going to be a good deal of platforming that honestly felt fairly solid so far. I eventually unlocked a dash that not only helped a bit in combat scenarios, but could be used to reach otherwise unreachable areas too. Mechanically, Deviator certainly felt functional, despite my frustrations with the parry system that again, could use some tweaking. The demo does not feature difficulty options either, and that became quite the problem for when I reached the boss who effectively will end this demo for many of you. I just happen to be extremely stubborn. It took me probably 20 to 30 tries to defeat this bushy bastard who is just an absolute savage. I had to learn the timing of every attack he tossed my way, a 3-hit combo that needs to be blocked perfectly and from a very precise distance, a dash attack which required me to dash through him without much time, and other tricky patterns made this a complete nightmare. Winning the battle was ultimately satisfying, but I am a very stubborn person, and I feel like this encounter alone may end up turning a lot of players off. It can be done, obviously I did it, and I'm not the best gamer in the world, but I do feel like it's pretty cheap overall. Your reward for beating the boss? Well, you get to fight him again, but it's timed and with leaderboards. It is pretty cool that the developer attempted to add some replay value to this demo, but the last thing I wanted to do was fight this jerk again. That said, it is a cool little way to test your skills in the game and to see how you stack up against the rest of the world. Honestly, there were probably 2 or 3 times where I said I was gonna throw the towel in and I wasn't gonna be able to complete this demo, but I really pushed through, I persevered. Damn it, I'm proud of myself for beating this bush, and I challenge all of you, forget the challenge mode, I challenge you to just get through this demo. This boss is brutal. Seriously, the rest of it is not so bad. Beat the bush. Beat the bush. Anyways, let's move on. As far as the sound design is concerned in Deviator, it really sounds lovely. It's atmospheric, and the eerie synths fit the tone and setting of the game very well. I also enjoyed the satisfying smacking noise your sword strikes create when clashing with foes. It's a lovely looking and sounding game, though unfortunately the demo doesn't offer much landscape variety, with most of your time being spent in the same jungle. The jungle setting also occasionally made it pretty difficult to see certain enemies, which led to me taking plenty of unnecessary damage. They do blend into the background quite well. Hey, it is a jungle, I could kind of see that. Hopefully it's not a problem in some of the later areas of the game that aren't the jungle. Or is the whole game the jungle? No, I don't think so. There will be more areas, trust me. Alright, let's recap everything then so far based off of this demo. Yeah, I think a lot of people will dismiss Deviator as an unoriginal Hollow Knight clone at first, but based off of this demo, I can confidently say it does try to do a few things to stand out. The parry system does need some work, I'll be the first to admit that, but it could ultimately be a pretty fun and different approach to combat that you don't always get in a Metroidvania title. This one's definitely not perfect so far, but it is an early slice of the game, and the developers have a lot of time to iron out the issues. Honestly, you should check this demo out not only if you are a fan of Metroidvania games, but if you want bragging rights to say that you were able to beat the bushy boss. I hope the rest of the bosses in Deviator go down a little easier, but I have my doubts. Beat the bush, I challenge you, seriously. The demo for Deviator is available now on Steam, with the full release scheduled a little bit later here in 2024. There's no concrete release date at the time of this video. I'm very much looking forward to seeing how it progresses, and also hearing your thoughts on the game in the comments below. I hope you all continue to have a wonderful Steam Next Fest, and once again, a very special thank you to Sapstar Games for this sponsorship opportunity. I really enjoyed Deviator so far, has its issues, nothing that can't be worked out, and I think it's gonna end up being a pretty fun Metroidvania game in the end. But we shall see how it all comes together. Voice to the voiceless, thank you for supporting independent developers, publishers, and I Dream of Indie Games. I will see you on the channel for more great indie gaming content, plenty of Steam Next Fest coverage, and so much more. I guess you could kinda say we're building momentum, just like you do in Deviator. See ya, I'm outta here.